All right, let's jump right in. So think about this for a second. A man who was a doctor, a novelist, a sculptor, and a revolutionary thinker, and he did it all before he even turned 35. This is our ultimate explainer on the life, the work, and the incredible legacy of the Philippines' national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal.
So here's how we're going to do this. We've set this up like a little pop quiz with 3 quick rounds. We'll cover the man behind the legend, his world-changing books, and the historical sparks he helped ignite. You think you know your stuff? Let's find out.
Okay, round 1. Let's peel back the layers and talk about Rizal the person. This is all about his personal life, his unique qualities, and his, let's be honest, insane range of talents. Let's get right to our first question.
You know, we throw that word genius around a lot with Rizal, but what does that really mean? Where did that brilliance truly show itself? Was he all about the sciences, or dedicated to the arts, or was it something more? What do you think? Lock in your answer.
Got your guess?
Okay, let's see how you did.
And the answer is B, both science and arts. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about being smart. In a colonial society that was constantly told Filipinos were somehow inferior, Rizal mastering both fields? That was a powerful, radical statement. It wasn't just a hobby. It was an act of intellectual rebellion. Okay, so sticking with this theme of his incredible mind, let's talk about another one of his famous skills. We all know he was a polyglot, but seriously, how many languages could this guy speak? Take a guess.
Just think about it. He traveled all over Asia, America, and Europe, moving in those high-level intellectual circles. What number sounds about right to you?
Get this, the answer is a whopping 22.
Yep, 22. And again, this is a way more than just a cool party trick. This was his strategic weapon. It meant he could write for different audiences around the world and literally debate his opponents in their own language. It made his arguments for reform totally impossible to ignore.
Okay, so that brings us to round 2. We've talked about his genius, now let's talk about his most powerful weapon, the pen. This round is all about his game-changing novels Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, and their unforgettable characters. Okay, first question. His novels are filled with characters who are basically symbols for Filipino society, right? So which of these women became that tragic, unforgettable symbol of the motherland itself, abused and driven to madness?
She's probably one of the most heartbreaking characters he ever wrote. Who are we talking about?
And the answer is B, Sisa, of course. And this is just pure brilliance on Rizal's part. See, Sisa wasn't just some character in a story. She was the Philippines, Inang Bayan, the motherland. Her suffering, losing her kids, losing her mind, that was the story of a nation being robbed of its future by an unjust system.
All right, next up, we've got one of the most powerful lines in all of Philippine literature. It's all about sacrifice, about hoping for a future you might not even get to see. Who said it?
This one really gets to the heart of the whole struggle. Who was it? The answer is A, Elias. And this is so important, because if you think about it, the main character, Ibarra, was all about peaceful reform. But Elias? He was the other side of the coin. He was the spirit of revolution, the voice of the common person who knew freedom might cost everything.
You know, let's just sit with that line for a second. It's not about giving up. It's actually a statement of incredible hope. It's the sound of a whole generation saying, we will fight for a better morning even if we don't live to see it.
And that idea of sacrifice? Well, that leads us perfectly into our final round, Sparks of a Nation. Because Rizal's life and his words weren't just ideas, they were sparks that lit a fire that would eventually become a full-blown revolution. Let's connect those dots.
Okay, so lots of things were building up and fueling the revolution, right? But what was the final straw? The one event that was the absolute point of no return?
Just think about the timeline here. Which of these basically forced the revolutionaries' hands and left them with no other choice but to fight?
And the answer is C, the discovery of the Katipunan. Look, all the other events were hugely important, no doubt, but when the Spanish found out about this secret society, the KKK, the gig was up. It instantly turned the simmering plot into an all-out war. That's what kicked off the Philippine Revolution of 1896.
And when you lay it all out like this on a timeline, you can literally see the story of a nation taking shape. It starts with the G.M. Burr's execution in '72 that plants the seed in young Rizal. Then his novels wake everybody up. His peaceful efforts get shut down when he's exiled, and bam, The Katipunan gets discovered and the fuse is lit. Every single one was a critical piece of the puzzle. And there you have it. That's the end of our quiz. So how'd you do? Hey, whether you ace it or learned a thing or two, the real point here isn't about getting a perfect score. It's about looking past the dates and names to really understand the massive legacy Rizal left for us.
Which brings us to one last question for you to think about. I mean, this isn't just old history from a textbook, right? It's literally in the DNA of the nation. So when you really get the intellectual fights he fought, the art he used to defy a colonial power, and the incredible sacrifices that were made, how does that change the way we look at the Philippines today? Its identity, its challenges, its unbelievable resilience. It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining me for this one.